Okay, it's my turn to have a introduction. I'm Oliver, and I'm a senior front-end engineer with nearly 10 years of experience. All, most most of my career was in a US-based company based in Beijing. My tech stack includes React Router, OntD, material design, and so on. I am focused on React ecosystem, and I'm happy to have this opportunity to have this interview. And thank you. Okay, let me try again. I'm Oliver, and I'm a front-end engineer with nearly 10 years of experience. Most of my career was in a US-based company based in Beijing. The business is building a SaaS platform to manage crises and to build risk management and crisis management system. I have deep expertise in React, TypeScript. I'm particularly strong in front-end engineering, such as setting up micro front-ends, mana repos, and test pipelines. I'm looking for a senior role where I can deliver high quality, scalable front-end solutions. I'm particularly strong. I'm focused on React ecosystem, includes React, TypeScript, React Router, material design, UI OntD, and so on. Okay, first question is call stack. Call stack follows a mechanism last in, first out level. And next question is what is event loop? Event loop is a mechanism, which means in JavaScript is a single thread language, so we need to use event loop to handle the events. There are two types of jobs, micro jobs and macro jobs. Firstly, it will run one micro jobs, and then it will run run all of the micro jobs. After all the micro jobs clean up, it will pick up one micro jobs to execute. After that, micro jobs executed finish, then the event loop will repeat it again, repeat the circle again, and find to clean up all of the micro jobs. That's event loop. That's what the event loop works. That's what the event loop works. Next question is, what is scope? Scope. There are three types of scope: global scope, block scope, and lexical scope. Before EX6, in JavaScript there is no block scope, and after EX6, the block scope introduced, and lexical scope is we can use arrow function in lexical scope. Next question is, what is closure? Closure is a mechanism where an inner function can call a variable that is defined in outer function. We can use closure to define private variables, and we can use closure to define like currying function or memorized function, or in React we could the hooks mechanism actually use closure to write use state hooks. Next question is, what is hosting? Hosting means the definition could be moved at the definition of the variables and the functions could be moved to the top of the context at the compare period. That is hosting, and we need to be careful that last and const could be hosting too, but there will be DMZ, which means it will, if you hosting them, it will actually show reference error because there is a DMZ. Next question is primitive types. There are 7 primitive types, like in JavaScript, like string, number, boolean, null, undefined, big int, symbol. Symbol could be used to identify variables, and big int could be used for if you want to define some numbers that is larger than the largest safe numbers, we can use big int to define variables. Next question is value versus reference. Value is copied by value, and reference is copied by address. Next question is double equal versus triple equal. Double equal will do type conversion, but triple equal will not do it, which means if we use double equals, there it will maybe there will be have some unnecessary bugs because the type conversion. For example, string 0 and number 0 will be equal in double equals situation. Next question is promise. Promise is a mechanism to avoid callback hell, and we can use it. There are three periods like pending and rejected and fulfilled, and we can write the syntax like .then function. .then function is actually an observer design model to account this promise function. Next question is async await. Async await is actually a syntactic sugar, and it also can avoid callback hell, and we can write the code like syncode way, and is a good way, and we can try catch. We can have try catch by using the async await syntax. Promise .then is actually a micro. It's actually a micro job. Even flow already said it is actually followed by one macro task, and then all of the micro jobs, and then one macro jobs. That's the event flow, and the message queue also follow the mechanism. Next question is this. This is a keyword, and the value is based on the execution context, and there are some situations, and first is if no other condition, this means the window in browser. And there are also the next situation is implicit bound. We can call it by object door function, and we can have some implicit bound. We can bound it by call apply function to bound this with other function, and we can also use new function to bound this with some instance. Currying, which means we can transform a function with several parameters to a sequence of functions with one parameter. The benefit of covering is the readable and reusable is better. Next question is the most challenge for me to at my work. We have a situation that we need a real-time cooperation dashboard, which means we need to handle it to refresh the dashboard in real time, and we need to have good performance. We don't need to and also we don't want the data order is wrong. So the task is we need to handle data, and we need to separate the business logic and the message handler message. And what I do is actually first I defined two HOC in using React. The first HOC is subscribe wrapper, and the next wrapper is publish wrapper, which means every business component that need to publish some message will wrapper a publish wrapper, and every business component which need to subscribe a message need to wrapper a subscribe wrapper. And this is the first thing I need to do. I need to separate the business component and the message handler component. And next, I need to handle the message to make sure the message queue is in order. And I use, there are so many messages, and we use the message created time, and we sort it by the time. Once we find some message is delayed, we could ignore the message and use the latest message. And the next one for the performance, actually this is a real-time message handler system. We have a 5 times delay. We could handle the message every 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds to handle the messages. And the result is good. We separate the business and the message, and we also have a good performance and we can make sure the data in order. I think that is a challenge for me, and I can resolve it perfectly. Next question is Per function. What is per function? Per function is if the input is if same input will have same output. How about React? How about React function component? Actually, if we don't use React.memo to wrapper a function component, the React function component is not actually a per function. The per function benefit is predictable because same input will have same output and is immutable, and so is very easily to test. HOC means that is a function will return a function. All functions the parameters is a function. Prototype is object inheritance mechanism, which means every object will not only have its own property and their prototype properties. New. What is new? We could use new to bound this to an instance. EX6 models static input and output at the compare period. So we cannot use it in if else. We cannot define it use if in the condition or for loop. Next question is map vs object. Map. Weak map. In JavaScript weak map, the key of weak map can be a object or function. Its reference, right? And map set is all introduced in EX6. Set arrow function. Arrow function that could immutable functions like pop, push, shift, unshift, splice, sort, and immutable functions like reduce, map, for each. Join or something.